Hey Retro Gamers. Today on Smashing Bricks, we travel back to 2003 and fight our way across Middle-earth in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King for every console that was available that year, and PC. Hey, welcome back to Smashing Bricks, a retro gaming podcast. This is episode 44. My name is Eddie Inzauto, and today I'm joined once again by our old friend, Kyle Stallock. Hey, man.
Hi,
Hey.
I'm here.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I had a lot of fun playing this game, and I'm
Nice.
really eager to talk about it. I really flooded my chat with lots of things. My brother was watching. Whole thing. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're going to be playing Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Or we did play Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
We
We're going to be
did.
talking about it.
Yeah.
And I actually played it numerous times on numerous different platforms, but we'll get into that in a moment. Quick overview of the game is it was a 3D hack and slash game, that's how I would describe it. What would you call it?
It's almost like a Final Fight left to right game, but in 3D.
Yeah. That's kind of where I categorized it, as like the
Like
move
that
to
X-Men
3D.
game?
Yeah. Yeah, this came out on November 6th, 2003 in North America, and November 14th of that same year in the EU, and apparently it never came to Japan, which I guess, I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Rights issues probably with the license.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that was 2003. It was on all the systems of that time: the GameCube, the PS2, the Xbox, and the PC. And it was developed by EA Redwood Shores, and it was published by Electronic Arts, or EA Games. Challenge everything.
I've heard of them.
I used to love that intro for some reason. But who's EA Redwood Shores? Do we know who they are?
You told me, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I was surprised. And I could see the DNA here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just say it now anyway. It was Volition. Volition, who made Dead Space and a bunch of golf games. And what else? They make Dante's Inferno later on, which was kind of an expansion upon this genre much later on.
They did Dante's Inferno. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they did. So yeah, this game was a third person 3D game, melee combat action, a few different types of attacks as you're running around these big areas. You had projectile attacks as well. You had intercut scenes from the actual movies between the levels, and you got to choose levels based on a few different paths, one being Gandalf, one being the wrecking crew of the dwarf, the elf, and the human, and you had the hobbits on the other side. The narrative is just the story of the movie, which is cool, because I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. I'm sure you're a fan of Lord of the Rings because you told me specifically that you are.
There is no male our age that is not a fan of Lord of the Rings. It's impossible.
Yeah, it was quite the moment in fantasy.
It was.
And I was talking about this recently because a lot of people don't really understand that everything that is fantasy derives from Tolkien's writing. Pretty much, like the major majority of it. Like there's a direct line from Tolkien's books to Dungeons and Dragons in, I guess, the 70s to everything else that followed that. And that's
100%.
So amazing to think about when you consume the movies or read the books or play the games. And you're like, wow, this invented everything.
And it's still good because sometimes, it's like the starting point and then it goes on and it's not as good, Like Superman has started everything, and Lord of the Rings, like two of the most important entertainment properties. And Eddie, did you see that? This is a little reference, everybody, to earlier what we were talking about Superman. making a reference, and we may
Yeah,
talk
I
about it
like
again
I like how
later.
you dropped that in there. But we may get to that in the bonus round. I just saw the movie. Anyway.
I just want to mention something about EA making this. I just looked it up really quick. Glenn Schofield, who went on to do, like Dead Space, like the executive producer on that, and then was the CEO of Callisto Protocol. He was actually a producer on this game, apparently.
Yeah.
That dude's resume is huge. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited about this game. Sorry.
yeah, did you play this before, like back in the
Yeah,
early 2000s? So you do have experience. Tell us about it.
dude. This game I played with my brother co-op, and to this day we fondly remember it. We talk about it as being one of the better co-op games. Pick up and play. Just like going for a vibe. There's other games that we played that had more depth, and other games that we maybe played over a longer amount of time, like fighting games or whatnot. But this game, when you were in it for that short time that it exists, it was just like you were there. Like you could not put this down.
Hmm.
Co-op, and
What'd
it's
you
a
play it
co-op
on
game.
originally?
Xbox.
Xbox. Okay.
Yep.
What was that last thing you said?
Oh, I was gonna say it's a co-op game. I
Yeah.
don't think this should ever be played single player.
Yeah. See, that's an interesting thing because I played it single player this time.
Me too.
And never had the co-op experience because I never played this game at all. That time in that generation, I was playing tons of video games. It was one of the times that I played some of the most games that generation and the following one. But this one I missed, and it might be because like there's the ease of play, but then the games still cost money. You still have to rent them, you still have to buy them.
Yeah, of
The
course.
other ones are taking up your time, and the ingrained notion in my head that I should probably skip anything that's made around an IP that I care about
Good
because
point.
it's usually terrible. So
Yes.
as we'll find out in the bonus round, I don't really play movie tie-in games. So that might be a reason I just said, I'm not even going to bother with that.
Yeah, which is
Oh,
fair.
speaking of which, they also made 007 Everything or Nothing, EA Redwood Shores, the next year after this, which a lot of people think is a good game.
Huh.
What else was going on at that time? We had Enter the Matrix came out that same year, which was another major movie tie-in. And that was among the top-selling games worldwide because I believe that was right around the time of Matrix Reloaded or Revolutions or in between the two. Those came pretty quickly in succession. Then we had Knights of the Old Republic was that same year. Another film property, even though it was an original story. Oh, here's another reason why I may have missed this one. Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out about a week before this, and
Was
Prince
it
of
really?
Persia, The Sands of Time, and Beyond Good and Evil came out on the same day as one another, just a few days after this one came out.
Wow.
Plus,
That's a
Beautiful
powerful couple days.
Joe came out a month before. And Beautiful Joe, another fighting, side-scrolling fighting game,
Yep.
beat 'em up type game. Sands of Time, another 3D action game, a lot of sword play. Even Beyond Good and Evil could be slotted into that in a way. And I did play Enter the Matrix because I think I was a bigger Matrix fan than I was a Lord of the Rings fan somehow.
Did you have a lot of gel in your hair at that time?
No, I didn't try. Well, I did have a long leather trench coat, which is God, bad choice.
Nice.
But I didn't I didn't try to ape the whole look. I just
I
thought
mean,
leather was cool.
you had to pump the brakes at some point and save the ladies for other people.
Yeah. Oh, what a poor kid I was. This was also the year that Square and Enix became Square Enix, and it was the official launch of Steam, and it was the first Spike VGA Awards year. So 2003, that was a big year for gaming in general, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't check to
Remember
see
that.
like what some of like the best games were of that year. I was just kind of aiming for some of the similar games to what we're playing.
If you look it up, you'll probably find that Prince of Persia swept everything. Just about.
Yeah, that game is incredible. I would love
Yeah.
to get that one on the show pretty soon.
And then they had the sequel with Godsmack. Yeah.
Yeah. They went
Anyway.
in different directions with all three of those. More about this game. It was built on a golf engine because this company made the
Yes.
golf games for EA. About a year into development on an original engine, they were not really making as much headway as they wanted to, so they used the Tiger Woods PGA Tour engine as a foundation for the game for its ability to render wide open spaces and move through it. This was a sequel. It was a sequel to the Two Towers game, which was made by a different developer a few years or just the year earlier. And this one added the multiple paths with the extra characters. And one of the things that they really aimed to do was put lots more enemies on screen at a time and to improve the AI. I read that one of the things that they touted, or two of the things that they touted, was double the polygons and double the textures.
Mm.
Okay. Despite this game receiving general critical acclaim, which we'll talk about in a second, and selling well, Peter Jackson, director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy films, said that the video game tie-in for his next film, King Kong, would not be developed by EA but by Ubisoft because he wasn't consulted as much as he would like to have been. They weren't interested in his input. And he played Beyond Good and Evil, like I did, and loved it and wanted to work with Michel Ancel at Ubisoft, which is super cool to me that like
Oh
he
yeah.
knew the developer by name and was like, I got to work with that guy on something that's related to something that I made. That's dope. I like
And
that
then
a
it
lot.
turned out great because the King Kong game was short but amazing.
Mm-hmm. And was the best named game in the history of video games.
What is it?
Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie, is the official title. It's my favorite. This one sold 240,000 copies, earning $5.5 million by August 2006 on Windows, which made it only the 86th best for the period. And in the UK, these are the only numbers I was able to find, the PS2 version sold at least 300,000 copies, making it a platinum seller. At the Spike VGAs this year, it lost Best Animation to Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, and it lost Best Game Based on a Movie to Enter the Matrix. Yeah, we know what they were talking about with the animations for Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. That's kind of rough to lose to that. And I feel like a lot of the people who played the two games probably would say Enter the Matrix was not as good of a game, although I liked it. I
No, it's
enjoyed it a
not.
lot.
It was buggy. It was a buggy mess.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But I believe you. At the AIAAs, Elijah Wood won Best Male Performance, and the game itself won Outstanding Achievement in Sound Design.
Yeah, I
which
would say.
we will definitely refer to in the next section because obviously it would win that.
Yep.
So aside from awards, it was a pretty well-reviewed game. Ignoring the GBA version, which is a different thing entirely, we had it on the three consoles and PC, where it got about an 84 to 85 aggregate score on Metacritic for the consoles and a 78 on PC. Yeah, looking at a couple of notable ones, they're all pretty much right in there between 7 and 9. The lowest would have been Eurogamer with a 7 out of 10 for the PS2 version. And the highest, I guess, would have been a 9.1 from GameZone. I used to like that website a lot, actually, with a 9.1 out of 10. And then, actually, we had a 5 out of 5 stars from GameSpy for the Xbox
I can see
version.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also read an article at IGN where they were talking about which version would have been the best, because that's something that was done all the time in that generation.
Oh, yeah.
But they came out saying the PS2 version was the best, and I feel like they based it heavily on the fact that the PS2 version had net play. You were able to play it with the modem, because the PC version obviously would blow them away graphically, and the PS2 version was kind of the worst in a lot of ways other than
it was the
net
worst.
play, which is interesting. But that's what people thought.
Like the GameCube versions of games are usually really well done. I would, if there was a hierarchy ever, it was always obviously PC. Depending on those, like sometimes those PC ports got to be pretty rough, but like Xbox was always the better version of a game. Then it was
Yeah.
GameCube, then it was PS2. So I'm shocked that they would say PS2.
Yeah. Yeah, usually the Xbox was able to lead the pack in
Mm-hmm.
visuals and audio
Yep.
and had solid it was easy to design for. That was always a
Mm-hmm.
thing. And then the GameCube was able to push a lot of technically superior graphics effects, but it
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, is the case with this game, would run out of steam if they needed a lot of data on the disc because the
Mm.
discs were lower capacity. So in
Smaller.
this
Yep.
game, it suffered in the audio department. And then the
Got it.
PS2 was just kind of like lower quality in the visuals. It was just like less of a technically strong machine, but it
Mm-hmm.
often really did beat the GameCube in the audio department just because it could hold
Yeah.
more. And
Um,
perhaps it could stream better from its optical drive or something. I don't really know that much of the technicals about that.
Me neither. I'm not a technical guy, but I remember like the layman's, and just from owning all of them too.
Yeah, just looking at it, that one looks better than that one.
Yeah, we don't need to be technical to say that. The reviews here, it says PC Gamer US at 58%, and I don't know if there's anything wrong with their version of the game, but and this is something I'm going to talk about later, hopefully. If they said 58%, I wouldn't be surprised because there's not a lot of these. I want to say like almost arcade style games that did well on PC, as far as I know.
Yeah, and I wonder if that comes down to the editorial factor of the publication itself, because
Yes,
they're a
exactly.
PC magazine. This is more of a console game by far in
Yes.
terms of the design ethos behind it and whatnot. And people at that time on PC might have been playing more sophisticated games or something, you know?
Like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, everyone was playing Counter-Strike. Anyway, that's what they all thought about it. But what
Hmm.
did we think about it? Because we played it. We played it. So, which version or versions did you play, Kyle?
I played the Xbox version on an emulator on my PC
Okay.
because I don't have access to my copy, which is in Minnesota. But
Mm-hmm.
I do own the game, so legally, okay,
Yeah.
emulator. I know your audience knows all this stuff, but yeah, I played that one, and it was good. It was good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
So, what I played was I started on the GameCube version on my Wii. I was playing on the Wii, on the GameCube
Okay.
game. And then I sampled the PC version, but it was funny because all of the cutscenes were removed. So I was like, this is weird. And I'm glad that I played the GameCube version first to realize that that was the case, because that's a big deal, big difference. And then I also played the PS2 version on my PS2. And I tried the Xbox version and it failed. So I have a good understanding of some of the differences between these and whether it was necessary to even do that. But I like having the perspective.
You're the
Um,
host. You gotta have the POV, right?
yeah. And you, as the guest, I feel like you are going to have the explanation of the game structure. Tell people a little bit more detail about what this game is, like how it stands out to you as you jump in and play.
All right, so you get into this game and it opens up with a whole like cinematic,
Oh,
right?
this
So
is
it
my
makes you,
favorite part, actually.
yeah. Like I think they do the THX thing, and it's like they're really setting this up as the movie. You remember the movie? You remember
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
movie and Gandalf and the ring and the story of all that? Well, guess what? You're now playing the video game based on that. Remember how cool it was?
When he came up over the ridge with the sun and the
I
riders.
know. And then the graphics are so good you don't even realize it's transitioning from a film clip to the video game.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they want you to think, obviously. Like, now you look at it and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, wow. Suddenly, Ian McKellen is a polygon guy. But
Like
it's cool. That's
his
very
ear is
cool the
one
way they did
polygon.
that.
Yeah, it is. It's cool how they did it, and it's they did it smoothly, which is more impressive than
Yeah,
anything else. Like you go right into it. So there seems to be this real like respect and commitment to what Peter Jackson created. So it's sad to hear that he was not happy about that, but you can tell they have a lot of respect and affinity for not just Tolkien, but what Peter Jackson did.
definitely. Yeah, you're right about that. His response is a little unfortunate because you can see for sure that the people who made this cared about the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you play each level and it's super cinematic and you go through kind of the beats of that, what was in the movies, and press this button to do this big thing. It's not a quick time event, but it's like walk over to this turret and launch this thing. But as you're playing it, so you get those main beats, and then you go to this like wall, which is your level select, which is cool and everything. But
Hmm.
you can choose which path you want to go. Gandalf's path, you want to go Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli's path, and they have their own missions, and then Frodo and Sam have their own stuff. But what's really
Yeah.
cool, and I want to point this out like early, is in between those levels that you select, you can click little DVD extra type buttons,
Yeah.
and that has extra content.
I didn't look at any of those, and I know that's a big thing probably for people at the time because everything that was in there, as I understand, is exclusive to this game, right? I mean, may
Yeah.
have been published somehow later, like with YouTube and stuff. But these interviews and conversations and whatever else it was, like some art and whatever, that was all for this game because I believe the movie Return of the King actually came out after the game, if I'm not mistaken. Fact checking, fact checking.
I watched all of them that I had unlocked, and it's apparent. I can't remember his name that plays Samwise. He was clearly enthusiastic about it. Christopher Lee he loved the idea of performing in this video game. He took it very seriously, and then Viggo Mortensen could not give a shit about any of this.
Oh, wow, that's funny because he wasn't in the game. I think he was the only voice actor who did not lend their voice.
Viggo didn't?
Yeah, I'm
It
pretty
sounds
sure
like
he
him in it.
didn't.
Huh. Gimli's all over it. He's got a lot of good voice lines. I like the DVD extras though. Like I was playing more games now after, and I was thinking this would be cool to have like a DVD extra type thing for that, because we don't get that much in movies like we used to because the format's gone, and so the art form was a little lost. So it was nice revisiting something that we have lost over time, or maybe something that we really never got in games. We do get behind the scenes stuff, but never so directly integrated. So they're really architecting, what I'm trying to say is, this experience of the movies. Like they want to consistently remind you of the movies and that you're playing that. So it reminds me a little bit of like the arcade games you used to play at the arcade,
Yeah.
or just games that were like very cinematic and remind you, like a lot of the Star Wars games were like that. But
Yeah,
association to the property is integral for the success of this game.
definitely. And coming up with my fact checking, it
Yes.
was released before the movie. This came out in November and
Awkward.
the movie came out in December, which is kind of
Awkward.
cool. If you got it, day and date, you were getting some of the advanced stuff,
I know what's gonna happen at this
ruining your
scene.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Like the book is like ancient, but the Peter Jackson filmic take, you're getting the new
Exactly.
stuff before anyone else.
I can't imagine having like some of the scenes, the major scenes, spoiled in that game versus in the movie.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, you're just making it worse for yourself. Like, you want to sit in the theater and watch that, not get it in the
Yeah.
game and be like in the theater and be like, oh, I remember this from the video game, the little clip of it. So, I mean, I guess it would have been really exciting that you had all those movie clips in the game, but at this point, to see them and them not to be skippable was really funny because I've seen the movies so many times. I'm like, I I really don't need to watch this scene right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
you know? But back then, it's interesting that they decided to make them unskippable.
You can eventually skip some if you
Yeah,
die
after you
and
die and
you do it.
restart. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's seeing them for like the 20th time. You're like, no, I don't want to do this. Or like some of the in-game cutscenes when you're playing are unskippable, and you're just, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then getting into the actual game, you go in, you're playing. So how did you like the sort of beat 'em up hack and slash action, and how you moved through the levels and how your character performed various moves? Cuz being someone who appreciates a fighting game and a fighting system, you had a little
hmm
bit of a system here to work with. It wasn't just a single button.
Yeah, I got a lot of notes on this, and this is something that I talked about a lot on my stream. So stop me at any point. But like,
Yeah, go for it.
I really feel like this is an arcade game for that reason I said before, and then also for these game mechanics, because a lot of the time with an arcade game or a beat 'em up like this, it's more important for the player to get from point A to point B in a fast time to like keep them engaged and keep them pumping quarters into the machine. This kind of feels that way, uh, partly because you can just kind of mash the same stuff over and over again. There's a little bit of like, oh, you got to block and you got to do, read the opponent and do that, but
Mhm.
nothing really beyond the X-Men games or other things like that.
Yeah. I also put in my notes that it was button mashy to me,
Yeah.
despite having your quick attack, your strong attack, your parry, your special move, and your quote unquote physical attack, which I literally never used except for to interact with the environment. You
Parry
do
isn't a
have some.
parry, by the way. It's limited invincibility, and it's comical but how that works.
Please talk about it because I do not like the parry button. I think
It's
I hated the way it worked, that particular element of it.
Well, because parries, a lot of time you expect like some kind of character to be like mini stunned for like half a second, or like
Hmm.
a reaction from the enemy that you made a parry. But in here, parry is more along the lines of like, I don't take any damage while I'm getting hit by that move, so you don't get any kind of direct feedback
Yes.
from the enemy, that you've
Yeah.
made a successful parry. And that's kind of jarring because these days we're so used to parries as like being high risk, high reward. This
Hmm.
is like limited time invincibility where you could just spam it sometimes and you could just be an invincible little Gimli dwarf.
Yeah. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
really interesting because like I thought similarly about a lot of the animations, which were actually praised a lot. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
it was nominated for animation at the awards, but when the animations did not line up with the tactile feedback of playing the game, it was not valuable to me as the player. Sure, they could have good animations, but if it doesn't feed back into my senses as a player, my vision, my hand feeling, everything like that, what
Yep.
good is it? So
Yep.
one thing that I wrote was that a lot of playing it, I didn't know when I was hitting anything, when I was getting hit, who I was getting hit by, what was stopping my sword swing when I had a group of enemies that some of
Yep.
them could get hit by my quick attack, but there was one with a shield and you can't hit through a shield with the quick attack. So in this entire group, I would just get deflected. So a lot of times it was hard to follow. And that
Yeah.
that kind of is a result of what we're just talking about, and also the fact that they tried to put so many enemies on screen, almost reaching like the Dynasty Warriors kind of ethos. Maybe not
Yeah.
to that extent, but I felt that way, which is a thing that people want for games and situations like this. Like the story of Lord of the Rings is you're a part of a giant epic war for Middle Earth.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and it achieves that feeling, I think, but I think it falters a little bit in the moment to moment gameplay because of that, and because of what you were saying about the animation and the way that the moves worked. But I'm glad. Thank you for validating that about that parry, quote unquote parry. How did you do with the special moves where you had to parry and then hit your death blow button to do an
Well,
automatic kill reversal.
that's broken in the game.
Okay.
Like that's the only way to get like perfects quickly, because you have this meter in the bottom left by your health bar, and the more that you hit an enemy, the higher it will go up. And then depending on where this meter is in this like 360 radial pattern, that decides what rating you get for killing them. It's like a
Yeah.
really crude combo meter type of thing. But
Yeah.
when you do the parry to execute, you get it instantly maxes out to perfect. And you're stronger when you're hitting perfects, you get more health drops.
Yep.
And so if you can, it's a really simple move to master too, and you can do it at anything. So it's like the game isn't balanced at all in that regard. And it's when you're talking about like getting overwhelmed, a lot of those ugly moments when getting overwhelmed, because like you can get that blowback effect when you hit someone's shield, but also if you and an enemy attack each other at the same time, you get the same blowback. So you don't know if am I hitting a shield or am I hitting someone else that's attacking me at the same time. So it's like that. But all of that goes away in co-op because someone else can be running in and you two are just busy, having fun together. So a lot of these ugly things are glossed over if you play on normal in co-op. Now, hard mode is a completely different thing.
I did not play hard mode, and I did not find this easy to master mechanism easy to master. I did not master it.
Oh, sorry.
I was
Yeah.
not figure. No, it's fine. I mean, people know that you are a more skilled gamer than I am, but like I had a lot of trouble. Like I could because there was no feedback on the parry. I was trying to figure it out for a long time. So I would be standing there saying, okay, I got to figure out how this works so that I can actually use it in gameplay. And enemies, they didn't have like the type of telegraph that made it easier for me to use the parry button. And oftentimes their main attack, like how they would start out, would be by leaping in from out of range to attack you. My classic strategy in Street Fighter 2 of jumping in with a fierce kick with Ken and Ryu. Hopefully
which no
not
one
getting
does.
countered.
No one ever does that. I've never seen anybody do that, and I have no idea how to counter it immediately.
Yeah.
But you're right, because I want to add to that too. There's I got hit off screen so many times.
Oh, all the projectiles especially. And the melee people, like both of them. But the projectiles were even worse than the melee as far as getting hit from off screen.
And like sometimes there'd be people meleeing me on hard while like 6 projectiles are coming at me, and I'm thinking, I literally have no time to attack right now. Like there's 0 time to attack.
You have to focus on moving away and figuring out where to stand so that you could press an attack button without getting pelted by arrows.
Exactly, but a lot of those things I never really saw when I played co-op. I mean, now it's been like 20 years since I played co-op, but I remember like it being hard, but playing this on single player on hard, one, like you get overwhelmed really easily like that. Number 2 is that like they all the moves that you get, you're forced to optimize the best you can, and a lot of these moves have like flourishes or they're really huge frame counts, so you never get to really access 3/4 of your move list, which, why even have it then? Why even program all this stuff if there's no real use for it in any mode?
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of ugly stuff like that. And then like some characters are certainly overpowered in certain situations than others, like Pelennor Fields, Legolas. You can easily use him to move forward in this one situation, whereas Gimli, it's going to take you like 10 times as long. So it's not balanced for anything like that. But if you choose 2 characters, you're always going to fill in those weaknesses.
Yeah. I wonder if there are any differences in the way the game is programmed for a 1-player game versus a co-op game. And I would almost wager that it probably wasn't. Like it was just tuned for co-op and they said, a single player can do it too.
Yeah, like, do they have less enemies on single player, or do they do a reduced amount of damage? I don't think there was that much thought put into it, to be honest. Like, no, not saying like they messed up or anything. I've worked in uh licensed games before, and I know like how quickly these things need to be cranked out. And I don't know if it was like that for this, but yeah, it just feels like they were like doing the best they could with the limited time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to go back to that combo system. Did you like it? Because I didn't love it, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
No, I thought it was crude. I thought it was really crude, but again, it's good enough for the two-player arcade experience that they're trying to convey. Like
Yeah.
it there's something there, but and they could have worked the kinks out a little bit, but they didn't put enough time into being like, okay, how could someone break this easily?
Yeah. Kyle
So
starting his video game industry career as a bug tester coming
right.
out here talking
Yeah.
about this.
But yeah, that's what it was. It was cool. It was like fun at first, and then I was like getting myself reacquainted. I'm like, what is this good, great thing? Then I looked at the thing, then started doing the parry offline. I didn't do it on my stream, but I did a lot in the offline stuff. I was like, okay, how do we get this now? Because I saw people online and message boards bringing that up, and I go, oh yeah, that's what I used to do all the time. I used to do that parry type thing, and then I tried it. Yeah.
Was the best way to do it hitting the parry button and then the kill button almost immediately after without waiting for any feedback? Because that started to work a
Yeah,
little bit
basically.
better for me. It was like I was almost pressing them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
it,
so I
and
got
then you can
there.
do it off of like every attack,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can just constantly sit in 100%. Like what a lot of people do is they do that, and then they sit at Southgate, one of the levels where you're Gimli, Legolas, or Aragorn, and enemies keep coming until you move on to a location. So a lot of people just infinitely farm XP at that level.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I remember my brother and I doing that a lot and getting perfects on it and just sitting there and racking up hundreds of kills.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have done that if I knew to do it. But the reason that's important to know in advance is the fact that you can't go back and replay levels until you've finished the game to come back. Right?
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Maybe you can. No. I was thinking maybe in the center column with Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn, maybe you can, but you definitely can't for the other ones where you only have one character to play as. But I'm pretty sure you can't go back, which is a choice. That's a choice. But it makes sense because something we're going to get into right now, feeding off of that as well as the combo system, is that it has a level up system. And I think that's the reason it kind of works the way it does, because in my experience, getting through some of these levels, you're better off just kind of running and avoiding enemies, like to get to the end, because the whole point is to get to the end and you don't have to kill everything. However,
Shelob's Lair. Oh my god.
yeah,
That is the main one.
yeah. However, it's important to do as many kills as you can in rapid succession to get your combo meter up so you're getting more points per kill, and therefore you can use those points to gain some of the moves and abilities, the health ups, the counterattacks, the combos, all that in the level up system. You want to talk about the level up system? Tell people what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I loved parts of it. I
Yeah.
really liked how it was framed, and I could see
Mm-hmm.
like the moves being done, because again, they constantly want to reinforce that connection to the IP. So you finish a level, you'd see Aragorn or Gimli or something like that in the corner, and as you're going through the levels and picking what you should use your XP on, you get to see the character using that animation. It was cool. It's like, oh, this is how Gimli does it differently than Samwise. Like, awesome. There are aspects that I thought were hilarious. Like
Mm-hmm.
they had two slots. It was every time you finish a level, you could level up. It was on the left, your character that you had just used, so Samwise or something, and then on the right, if you moved over, you got to select, the path of upgrades for all the characters. So sometimes the math didn't make sense to me, because it'd be like, do you want to buy this
Yeah.
move? This like, oh, to level up your health or something. And it was like 500. And then to level up all the characters was like 900 or something like that. But if you think about it, you're going to have to play at least 3 of the characters included in this upgrade, because there's 3 paths to go. So why would I ever pick the single one for 500 and not save for like 900 when that's going to be a significantly better XP deal than buying it 3 times over?
Yeah.
It's just little things like that. I was like, guys, this is stupid. Why'd you put
I
this
have
in
no
there?
idea why they would do it that way. I looked at it and in 1 second I was like, well, obviously I'm going to buy the ones for the whole group the whole time.
Yeah, right?
Like
Every time.
the most meager amount of math in your life would tell you that like in a split second. I was like, well, duh.
Yeah. I'm not a good math person, but I was like, that the math checks out. Why would I do that?
I don't know. But otherwise, I do like the level up system. I think it's interesting how it works. It's not unique at all. It's in a lot of games of this sort
Yeah.
of nature where you gain some sort of currency to buy upgrades to your abilities. Something we saw a couple of years later in God of War, a couple of years earlier in Devil May Cry, I think. Did Devil May Cry have upgrades like that? Yeah, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. So, I mean, cool, but that split was just like funny. And it also you leveled up your character by playing, so each individual character in the game would get to like level 2 or level 3, and then certain abilities that maybe you unlocked with Gandalf at level 3, you would get them, but you wouldn't be able to use them with Aragorn until he reached level 3. So that was interesting, I suppose. You weren't able to be very strong on early levels with characters you hadn't used yet just because you used one of the other characters for like 4 levels already. So there's something to it. Audio, super cool. I've been waiting to talk about audio, and I don't know if it goes here, but it had the movie music. It had the voice actors. And that's awesome. That the balance wasn't great. Like the audio mix was kind of terrible because the voices were super quiet. But
Yeah.
who doesn't love the Lord of the Rings soundtrack? If you don't, I don't know what's wrong with your ears.
I don't know either. Like that's why the context is so important for this game, because it's got so many problems and it's so basic. But when you hear that, like the Ring theme, or you're seeing clips of Gollum between, and the sound quality, it'd be shocking if they couldn't replicate some of the quality that we're used to, either if you had seen it on TV or a DVD at the time. Like, it was crisp.
Yeah.
It felt like another experience, in that, like, a respectful experience, and the audio was so key to it, dude.
Mm-hmm. One thing they had in the menu, which surprised me, I don't think was in the movies, and it was like a weird addition, but maybe I was wrong. They had the Clint Mansell, I don't know what it's called, but it's the
Yes,
Requiem for a Dream song in the
yes, the Two
opening.
Towers remix.
Oh, that was meant to be there. Okay. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, yeah, that was the Two Towers remix, I believe, of it. Maybe it was for Return of the King, but I could have sworn it was Two Towers. But yeah, the Clint Mansell reuse of Requiem for a Dream, it's in the attract mode when you don't press anything at the
Yes.
main menu. And
Is that
it's
in the
killer.
films?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
But it might have been in like some soundtrack released in relation
Yeah.
to the movie. Okay.
I think
It just
like
caught
for the
me off
promo
guard.
campaign.
I was like, what is this right now? Because I just left the game on.
It slaps.
It does slap. It's an incredible composition. Nothing against that. I was just surprised to hear it. I was like, wow, the soundtrack just got better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It's a good. I remember like leaving that on sometimes as a kid just to see that attract mode.
Yeah.
And hear that song.
Yeah, it was hyping. What about the visuals? Visuals other than the animations we talked about.
They weren't. I don't remember them being great at the time. I remember them being good enough. What was great was that this moved along. It was crisp. The game felt smooth. It didn't slow down. And I think the responsiveness of the controls always felt like the graphics were good. And like I said, good enough. It played so well at the time that, yeah, you didn't get too mad about that. And plus the transitions, I think it's just you have that constant brand shoved in your face, and you're just playing in context, and nothing mattered because it was just everything. The whole package was good enough. This is it.
Yeah,
I'm riding the hype train.
I feel you for that. Yeah, I would say it was good enough, but as someone who's coming to it for the first time, I was kind of
Yeah,
unimpressed by the graphical fidelity. I felt like it was muddy. It was a very low dynamic range for me too. And what I mean by
yes,
that is everything was very high contrast. So you had deep,
yep.
dark shadows, and it was kind of hard to see. I don't know if that comes from playing an old game through my Wii onto an HD TV, made, an LED TV instead of a CRT TV, if
Mm.
that had some sort of impact on the graphics, but I found that to make it kind of rough to distinguish a lot of stuff. There was some fuzziness to it. Sometimes when you would do different moves, or if you would get hit in certain ways, or certain things would happen, there was a blur effect that I did not love. I never like any blur effect though. So
My brother's been telling me about. He's like, he's watching my streams. He's like, Kyle, you got to take your motion blur off. I'm like, it's on. He goes, it's on. And then I take it off. I'm like, oh, it's so much better, man.
was there an option for that?
I don't know if it was on this game or not, but I'm just saying in general.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
there is a lot of blur in this game, and you're right. Like, I think the contrast is a little odd, but I don't know if that was like the graphics engine at the time. I don't know if what's artistic and what was ever, but like, it doesn't hold up very good these days for
Mhm.
graphics. Like when you get jumped into that Gandalf level for the first time, it almost looks like what I remember a budget title to look like.
It's funny. Yeah, it is funny. It's like a little jarring, but like it was a fun surprise anyway. What I
Yeah.
did think was good though, what I did think had its merits was the presentation, like the
Mm.
cinematic attempt at using camera angles and
Yeah.
perspective and like zooming in and stuff. Now, functionally, that fell apart in some ways, but I found it to increase the cinematic appeal, which is a big part of playing a movie about a cinematic production. So that was,
Yeah. They can't just have like left to right. That would have been weird. And in
yeah,
some of the Palantir missions, it gets to feel like that, which are bonus missions that you can access at the end. They're like survive and kill as many enemies as you can. But I wanted to see if you saw this. In the undead level where you're, Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn,
hmm,
they mimicked, or maybe they paid homage to Resident Evil through some camera angles.
yeah, yeah, I guess. Like a few times you would get to a point and you're like, well, I don't know where the exit of this screen is, so I'm going to walk along the edge of the screen until the character goes out of the camera view.
Yeah. And then it's like low. It's like really low to make resemble a horror movie,
Yeah,
or what do they call it? Where like you twist the camera a little bit
Dutch
type of thing.
angle.
Dutch angle. Yeah, there was like
Yeah.
Dutch angle, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then you play a different level, and it's shot more like traditional video game or something. So that was
Mhm.
kind of cool that they had that approach to it.
Yeah, but it also left us open for some of those other problems that we talked about before,
Oh,
which was a lot of off-screen stuff, not being able
the
to.
one the level where you played Samwise and you were trying to escape the Witch King.
Hmm.
That one had so many off-camera arrows and different things.
I hated that level so much.
Oh my
That's
god! And
like
then the Witch King,
Osgiliath.
yeah, yeah.
Is that how you
I was
pronounce
I
that?
was Geliath.
Osgiliath.
Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
It was a cool idea, I suppose, but like that level annoyed me so much. When I came
I
back
wasn't a
to it
fan.
after playing it a couple times, I was like, oh, yeah, I see the appeal. I liked a lot of the environmental interaction, I guess, particularly with Samwise. In that level, there was some of it dropping some environmental element and
The
destroying a
bell.
bunch of your enemies, the bell, yeah. Even some of the stuff with Gandalf, where you're instructing a catapult to fire at a siege tower multiple times in, I guess that was Minas Tirith, picking up spears that are laying around and launching them at larger enemies for bigger damage. There's cool stuff like that. And I guess that brings us to some of the different ways that the game played out in different levels, because there were kind of objectives in certain levels. Like one level you're just trying to get from beginning to end, another level you're trying to hide from the open sky while making it past all these enemies. Another one you're defending the top of a wall, you're knocking down the ladders as they're placed up against the wall as they're trying to siege the town, and you're running back and forth kind of managing the enemy characters flooding the area you're in. There's the
I
one
looked
after that.
online,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like hated that one. That was one of the harder ones for people.
On the wall,
The Gandalf one.
defending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The one after that for me was worse, where you're trying to kill enemies as they're chasing the people of the town, and you're building up to like 200 or something civilians running away and getting into safety, and you're just fighting off the orcs, and the big trolls come in, and some of the other bigger enemies. And
See, that should have been a live stream. You playing that level.
oh my god, I was so frustrated by it. I did not love it. I mean, the concept, yeah, sure, but the way it played out, I don't know.
Well, that's funny because like there really are simple designs to this gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like small, relatively small areas. You're doing relatively simple things. You backtrack a lot over locations you've already been. They reuse a lot of assets, so they go the distance with a small amount of assets.
Yeah.
It lets them be bigger with the game, and
Yeah.
it makes it seem like there's more content than there actually is. But once you actually when you get on hard mode, then you replay levels over and over, because on hard, if you make a small mistake, or if you don't know about something that is going to randomly come and kill you off screen, like you're going to lose, or what the time limit, or like you have to be so tight with your movement and your timings and game knowledge on hard that you end up replaying so much. And when you do that, you see a lot of the ugly parts, like how small the levels actually are, how little you actually do besides this one core mechanic that you've had to do 1,000 times over. And then, oh, here are a lot of like moves that I don't get to use. I really have to just use the most basic things. And
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that when we were talking about it, but all the combos, I thought to myself, why would I spend experience on these combos when just pressing like triangle, 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 triangle is just as
does the
good
job.
for shielded enemies, and square, 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 square is just as good for the unshielded. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yep.
need combos because pressing the same button 4 times in a row already is a combo, and nothing. Maybe it's better on hard mode. Like, maybe that's where it
No.
comes into play.
Well, there's
No.
no use to do the big combos because you just do the perfect parry.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you
So
just
spend
master
nothing
perfect
on
parry,
those.
yeah, if you just master perfect parry and then start doing that, there's no reason for you to use the big stuff. And like maybe like Orc Hewer or Heaver or whatever the hell it is, maybe that's sometimes good because it can get you out of certain situations quicker. Like
Mm-hmm.
knock a couple guys and then you turn behind you and you knock out a shield or something. So those are sometimes useful, but most of the time, yeah, you're already going to be imperfect anyway. So I mean, we're talking like gaming jerk min max to the most. Let's
Yeah.
take the fun out of it stuff
Yeah.
here. So, and this game I don't think is made for that. I think you can do that if you want, and it can be super frustrating. But I would say if like anyone's gonna play this, make sure you play it co-op and play it on normal, and just run through it in like a 1 or 2 sittings and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too much.
That co-op is such an important thing to emphasize.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of the way it ages too, because it's kind of difficult to play a game like this co-op at this point. You know, you have to get people to be in the same room with you in 2025. That
Impossible.
doesn't happen.
No. No.
Okay, so at the end of every episode, we like to say if the game was worth revisiting and if anyone else should go back and revisit it in 2025 and beyond, then we call it a smash. And if not, we call it a brick. So, Kyle, what would you say?
Smash.
Smash.
Smash. Smash twice. Smash when you get home and smash in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, that's the kind of life I love living.
the main thing I just wanted to say was like it's like an arcade game with like DVD extras, and I thought it's such a cool concept. Like I wanted more games from this time period, or like to do something similar. Like it was cool seeing extra game content about this brand. Like bring this concept to today. Like do a Fantastic Four or do a Superman game, and then treat it with as much respect about the franchise and this unique game. Like I want to see that. We see lots of content and people playing games and different skits and YouTube things, but I don't know. There's just something here that just, even though the product, you go into the details of it, it's like, okay, when you pick it apart, it's not that great, but then you just step back a little bit and you're like, there's something special here.
Yeah. I was on the fence for
Oh,
this one.
interesting.
When I started, I did not get much of the appeal of it, I think, because of the age factor. In
Interesting.
2025, having not played it, and this happens sometimes on this show, where games that I did play, the nostalgia would hold up, but games that I
Yeah.
didn't play back then, I couldn't find it in me in my 2025 brain and experience
Hmm.
to say, yes, this is a smash.
That's
And
a helpful perspective though, because I can't see this game for what it is. There's no way I can look past the nostalgia.
yeah. So I have all this other experience of this is my type of game too, in a way. Like I really love the third person action melee. That's
Oh,
big
okay.
for me, I love all the God of Wars. I've played those games. I played the Devil May Cry, that sort of thing. Even things like Dark Souls, it's much slower. It's an RPG, but the physical orientation of your character with the world where you're placed, how you interface with it, it's kind of that same vibe, that same overall theme. So it was tough.
Did you
And
find
also,
that your
go ahead,
did you find that your Dark Souls skills were applicable here?
0%. 0%. They're just
Okay.
not they're just not the same type of thing. Maybe if I were like an award-winning Bayonetta player, it might
Yeah.
apply a little bit more, but no. And I think I wanted to mention something more about Prince of Persia. Back then, I played that game, and it's a good reference because it was the same year, it was right around the same time, and my memory of that is a much cleaner control scheme, a much more responsive and feedback being available to it
Yeah.
system. Like there's a
Yeah.
block button, you would block your enemies, and it was solid. You understood exactly how the animation created the contact in physical space inside the game world, and you could work off of that. And that's something
Yeah.
that makes Dark Souls what it is and makes a lot of games appealing to a player like me. So I felt like it was not there for this, whereas something like Prince of Persia, I definitely could compare it in my mind and say, well, this same sort of thing happened in this game, and it just worked a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have a much more immediate feedback in
Hmm.
Prince of Persia, I remember. And there was less enemies on screen, but and their sprites were also bigger and also silhouetted more against more like flat textures. Where in this game, you get like 6 or 7 orcs around you, and the polygons. The camera's pulled back, so the polygons are already small,
Mm,
but they're like characters with black and gray,
yes.
armor
They're like a
set against
mass of
other characters,
twigs.
but yeah, and then against a black and gray a bit of scenery, so you have no idea what's happening half the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to get into like a quick parry rhythm or something like that. A lot of it is just spamming and lucking it.
So so yeah, as a result of all this, all these
Yeah,
thoughts, the lack of experience, having the discussion with you, going over the good parts, recognizing a lot of the good parts. I've been back and forth from like, no, it's a brick to, no, maybe it's a smash. It's got value historically to, oh yeah, well, I don't think I'm going to give it the smash because I think there's stuff that's better. Then while we're talking, I'm like, you know what? There is like a ton of value to this for what it is, especially for Lord of the Rings fans, especially in the time. And then now thinking again, like, but but wouldn't I just play some other game instead? And if I don't have co op, I am
yeah.
so confused right now, and it's still hard to give it a smash or a brick. Like I feel like I should give it a smash for the
You sound like
history
you're
of
leaning
it,
brick.
but I feel like I should give it a brick because I don't want to send someone to play a game that isn't sort of like the upper echelon of what the game does. And I
You know
think
what I'm
it
hearing?
is in the upper echelon of what the game does for a cinematic movie tie-in, maybe. But as a game,
Eh,
no.
I'm
Okay.
hearing that if collectively, if you're a huge fan and you want some like nostalgia, it's a smash. But if not, it's a brick. That's what I'm hearing
Yeah.
based on our discussion.
Yeah, but I'm also a Lord of the Rings fan too. So it's weird because I'm not getting the strong sort of nostalgia vibes for the movies or like that
Interesting.
feeling you get when you
Yeah.
have something of a property you like adding to it. This
Mm.
game should be augmenting my experience and expanding it and making it more, giving you more of an experience that extends further. And I wasn't getting that, but it might be because again, it's so many 20 something years later, 22 years later.
Yeah, and if you didn't see this game through those current eyes of the time, is it now looked back at like less quality than the film and more of like an ancillary piece of media
Right.
rather than when you had it in the time it was a complementary piece of
Right.
media
Because the film holds up forever because it's a movie.
forever.
It didn't have to be
Yeah.
a video game. It's still a movie, and movies from
Yeah.
the 50s are still good. You know,
Yeah.
It's missing a component of aging. There is some aging
Hmm.
to film, but not as much as there is to games, I think. So,
Yeah.
okay. So I think I've decided. Because of the way that I always talk about smashes and bricks, I say if the game is worth replaying, if we would go back, if we would send someone to do it, then it's a smash. And then if it's not that, well, then it has to be a brick. Not that I say it's a bad game, it's just not where I would call it a smash. I think I'm going to
Okay.
say that I have to call it a brick. Although Jason Finelli a couple months ago made up the term smashderisk and said it's good if you're a big fan of this, but I'm gonna not lean on the asterisk, and I'm gonna have to commit to saying that
I like the commitment.
I must say that it is a non-smash for me. And per the rules of smashing bricks, the only other thing it could be is a brick. So that's where I land. This is the most waffling I've ever done on the show. I just want
I
everyone to
like that.
know. But I had to commit. So with that, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King is a question block
Ooh.
and may or may not be worth revisiting in 2025 and beyond because we split.
I feel like I'm more often than not like smash on a lot of these games.
Yes. Yeah, you love giving credit for what was accomplished and all that. And I appreciate that because there is value in every game, especially from a sort of historical perspective, I would say, more than anything else. I would say, yeah, play every game if you can. If you have the time, play literally
If
every
you have the
game ever
time, yeah.
made, right?
Everything.
But that's not realistic from my like worldview. Unfortunately, my worldview is that you only have so much time, and I would say at this point, with the thousands of games that exist, you can only spend it on so many games. So I can only direct people to so many games.
Choices have to be made.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This was a power up episode, which I forgot to mention at the beginning. This was actually chosen for us to play by one of my patrons, and you, listener, can be a patron too if you go to patreon.com/smashingbricks and join at the appropriate tier. This one came from Jake, and Jake actually has a little listener commentary because he played along with us. So this will be great. This is from a big fan. It's a long commentary, but I'm going to try to read through quick.
Sure.
Okay, this is specifically for the GameCube version, he says. This game is such a time capsule, the evolution of beat 'em ups, a movie tie-in game, all things that seem to have mostly disappeared from gaming. For the most part, movie tie-ins being gone is fine, but this game is an absolute banger. It took what worked in the Two Towers game and absolutely polished it. Each character plays very differently from the other. The differences in each path also offer pretty different challenges and styles of maps. I personally gravitate towards Gandalf's part first. It's the easiest, he's my favorite character, and my favorite in the game. I like the variety of choices you get to upgrade your character, picking between solo benefits or team benefits. Do you upgrade for better combos, improve your HP, range attacks, or unique character traits? It's not a terribly deep system, but the options in this genre is pretty welcome. I think the game nails the Lord of the Rings vibes, letting players play through some of the most exciting moments in Return of the King while expanding in ways that mostly make sense for the characters, Sam's levels being the exception. Yeah, I agree with that. I love the interviews with the cast. In terms of age, it shows some, but I think it still holds up okay. Graphics are passable, if not amazing. Character models look solid. The voice acting is great, with most of the performances being the actual actors, and the music from the movies is direct in game. The game isn't perfect. Not being able to skip cutscenes that introduce the levels is a miss. Some of the levels have moments where you can get stun locked into oblivion. Overall, I admit I'm 100% biased, and this was and is a favorite from childhood, but it's an absolute smash for me. So, Jake seems to have
Well
had
put.
the exact same experience as Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, hold on, I'm like,
Did I write this?
That's well said. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You didn't write
He
that, right?
renamed
You're not posing as a different person in the Discord, are you?
It's a lot of work. It's too
Yeah.
much work for me.
Speaking of
Sounds funny,
which,
but no, I wouldn't.
join the Discord.
Join the Discord.
Discord.smashingbricks.com will get you to the Discord invite, and you can leave commentary for upcoming episodes as well. But so that is it for this game. Thanks everybody for listening and for playing along with us. If you did, please, the best way to support the show is by telling people about it, getting other people to listen, and come hang out at the Discord, talk about anything related to gaming. And alternatively, or in addition, you can go to your favorite podcasting platform and leave us a beautiful and glorious review for free. I also want to add right here, we got a new review on Apple Podcasts. So I'm going to read it off. This one came very recently from Turtle Ninja 17, and I love this review. It says 5 stars, thank you. This is really good, is the title. I felt compelled to tell you this is good after hearing how well you kept things on topic in the last bonus round. Thanks for the great podcast and not delving into tangents. You are very good. Now, I don't know if that is 100% true because we don't delve into tangents, but the most recent bonus round was the Star Wars episode, and I truly kept it on topic by naming 9 games that were not Star Wars games. So I think this is a reference to my silly joke, but it also seems like it's sincere. So I love this review. Thank you so much, Turtle Ninja 17. I hope you enjoy everything you hear on the show. You can also go to Patreon, patreon.com/smashingbricks, and become a patron for as little as $1 a month, and you'll get all the perks that are listed there, including submitting power up episodes like this one where we play the game you like. And you can get routine shout outs on the show, like Tanuki level supporter Ms. Muso is getting right now, as well as my handwritten notes, and you could even potentially be on the show with me. Links to everything is at links.smashingbricks.com. As for next episode, I will be joined by George Albor of the Experience Points podcast and briefly a member of GamerNode.com, and we'll be playing Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil for the PS2. So get your hands on a copy, play along, send in your thoughts, and join us next time on Smashing Bricks. This episode of Smashing Bricks was produced by me, Eddie Inzauto. It was edited by me, with audio engineering by me, video production by me, and graphic design by me. The podcast's social media manager is me. Its outreach and relationship manager is me. Its coordinator is me, and its technical director is me. That is all to say. If you enjoy smashing bricks, please consider supporting my efforts with a contribution on Patreon, with your 5-star rating and review, or by sharing the show with a friend. Special thanks to my guest, Kyle Stallock, whose gaming streams can be found at twitch.tv/realgoodthere. And a very special thanks to you. That wraps it up for today. I'm still Eddie Inzauto. That is Kyle Stallock. Thanks, Kyle.
Woo!
And until next time, may the nostalgia be with you.